What's up, everybody? This is Workshop 1776. I'm Jack. Today we're drinking Four Peaks Hop Knot IPA, and we're building this. All right, so today we're making a plate carrier hanger out of 1x6 common board from Home Depot and a 3/4 inch black pipes, also from Home Depot. The first thing I did was take the 1x6 and then I cut it to length. After I cut it to length, I sanded down the face of it with 220 grit sandpaper. I did that so that the face is smooth so that I can paint it easier and there won't be any like bumps or anything underneath the paint. Not that it really matters all that much for this project. All right, after I sanded it, I burned it just really, really lightly so it has that underlying burnt look before I paint it. Sanding it after you burn it is pretty important because when you burn it, the charred pieces of wood get real flaky and stuff like that. So if you're gonna paint it after you burn it, if you paint onto the flake stuff, the paint won't adhere to it very well, it'll just fall off. So sanding it with 220 grit, again, just very lightly, will knock off all of the kind of the loose stuff that's on there. It'll be easier to paint, basically. When you paint the flag on, you don't really need to worry so much about the exact proportions of the width of the stripes or anything like that. As you're gonna see, we're gonna sand all of that off. You're just going for the look and the feel of the flag. One thing I like to do is make sure that the very top stripe is a red stripe and the very bottom stripe is a red stripe, just because that's what the actual flag looks like, and then I put the union in the correct place. Once you sand it all off, you're not even gonna notice that there are not the correct amount of stripes or that some are wider than others. It doesn't matter. You're gonna take the 220 grit again on your sander and sand down the paint. This will make it look distressed. It'll take care of all of the overlapping lines from the red and white stripes or from the blue from the union. And if you do have areas like that, it's really easy just to focus on that with your sander a little bit more and take all the paint off, go right down to the wood. Okay, so since we're using dimensional lumber, I found that if you use a router, and in this case I use a chamfer bit, but you could use a round over or whatever, using a router to round over or chamfer the edges makes dimensional lumber look a lot more professional. It takes away that 2x4 look, or in this case just a straight piece of wood. So like I said, using the router to just add some nice edges makes it look like it's a lot more professionally done. And it only takes, a minute or two to do. So it's worth it. I use a laser engraver to put the name of the individual who I made this for into this piece. You do not need a laser engraver. You could do this, you could accomplish the same thing with a stencil and spray paint, or just hand painting it on there if you're artistically inclined, which I am not. The only reason I use a laser engraver is because my friend owns his own laser engraving company and lets me take my stuff to him. I think it looks better engraved, but it is by no means necessary if you want to make that custom, we're gonna put your name on it deal. Okay, so off camera we hit it with some spray paint. If you want to add contrast with whatever you've engraved, this is the most effective way to do it. So you put the tape down and then engrave through the tape into the material, and then while the tape's still attached, you just spray paint it, and there won't be any overspray. The lines are perfect. You won't have to worry about spilling onto the other parts of the piece, and you don't have to hand paint it with a tiny brush that takes forever, which I have done in the past, and the prep time's worth it, believe me. Now that we've painted, we've engraved, and all we have to do now is add the pins and the pipes. I'm gonna take the torch to it and add more detail on the edges, and then add some more distressed burnt areas on the face itself, just to give it that more rustic look. After we burn it for the last time, I didn't sand it after the last one because we're not gonna paint it again, so we don't really need to worry about the flakes. What I did use is this Rust-Oleum crystal clear enamel. They have a bunch of different variants of this. This is the shiniest one that they have because I wanted to get that glossy look to it, have it kind of shine in the light, so it also helps protect it against damage or whatever. This stuff is great. For smaller projects like this, you don't have to like load up or hand paint on polyurethane, which can be a mess and difficult to get even, or you don't have to put it into a spray or anything like that. I always have 2 cans of this on hand for something small like this that I want to give a professional finish to. Okay, so these pipes I got from Home Depot. They're 3/4 inch black pipe in the plumbing section of Home Depot. They are by far the most expensive part of this piece. I think the pipes, just for one of these, the T-section that holds the kit, is $20 to $25. But they look really cool, and they will rust over time, which for this application, I think it looks cool. If they're kind of rusted, it's not going to damage the plate carrier at all, and it gives it a more like a worn look. This part is going to be different for everybody. If anyone makes this, they're probably not going to do the same thing I did here. The person I made this for was a chief in the Navy, and he also wanted his warfare device underneath his name. So you could substitute this with anything. All I did was go to the Naval Exchange and bought the pins and eyeballed it, lined them up, and then just pushed them in with my hands. But you could do this with any kind of rank insignia or someone's warfare device or whatever. It doesn't matter. This is completely interchangeable. Also, one thing that's nice about using the pins is that if they want to keep it for a long time, they are removable. All you have to do is pop them out, put a new one in. So if they make rank or change jobs in the military or whatever it is, you can just take it off and put a new one in. So now I'm just eyeballing where I'm going to put the flange, which is the piece that it attaches the pipes to the wood. Pre-drilling the holes for it because I don't want the wood to crack when I put the screws in. And then I'm also going to pre-drill the holes for the 4 screws that I'm going to use to mount this to the wall. And then the T-joint just screws on, and it's as simple as that. From there you just mount it on the wall. I use drywall anchors, which I don't have with me. It's in the car. So I got drywall anchors that hold 45 pounds apiece that I will put into the wall and then screw the kit hanger or the plate carrier hanger directly into those anchors, just because the body armor is heavy. And if you just put it straight into drywall, if there's no studs, then it'll most definitely pull that drywall down. But that's it. It's a super simple project. Anybody could make this. You don't really need any tools. You can use a sanding block instead of a sander. You can have Home Depot or Lowe's, whoever, cut the 1x6 down to length for you. You could also put a small chamfer on the sides or on the edges with a sanding block, or a sander if you don't have a router. And then the blowtorch. It's a Bernzomatic propane blowtorch. I've used this in so many projects, and they're really, really cheap. That's really it. Like, you don't need a whole lot. Oh, and a drill. You do need a drill, so that's one thing you need. If you do make these, let me know. I'd love to see them. If you guys have any ideas for things you'd like me to make, please put them in the comments. I'm always open to suggestions. I have a lot of projects lined up, so hopefully I'll be bringing more videos to you guys soon. And I also wanted to say thank you to everyone who subscribed. It's been about 2 months since my first video, and we have over 200 subscribers now, which is crazy. I didn't expect it to take off this fast. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it. But yeah, I think that's about it for our 4th video now. And hopefully I'll have a few more videos coming out in the next couple weeks, and we'll see you then.